After finishing what will be his last day of public teaching, Jesus tells the disciples, "You know that after 2 days the Passover is coming, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified." Gone are the subtle hints and parables. Here, Jesus plainly tells the disciples he is going to be crucified in 2 days' time. By pairing his crucifixion with the Passover, Jesus is already beginning to draw attention to the parallels of the salvation brought to Israel in Egypt and the salvation his death will bring to the world. Meanwhile, the religious leaders are searching for a way to deal with their Jesus problem, but are also beginning to question the timing. And the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to arrest him by stealth and kill him, for they said, "Not during the feast, lest there be an uproar from the people." So much has already happened this week, and Jesus is becoming more celebrated by the day. First, he rides into town on a donkey to a crowd ready to see a king. Then he upends the temple marketplace, bringing attention back to God and the beauty of his temple. With every action taken and word spoken, it is becoming harder and harder for the priests and the scribes to accomplish their goal of eliminating Jesus. They have tried to trap him with controversial or, in some cases, illegal teachings, but Jesus never takes the bait. Instead, every response is grounded in a biblical base so strong that even the scribes trying to entrap him find themselves agreeing with him. Jesus' fame in Jerusalem has grown exponentially since his Palm Sunday arrival, and the religious leaders realize arresting and killing Jesus during the Passover feast will put them in an impossible situation with the people. If they silence Jesus once and for all right now, the crowd will likely turn on them, resulting in their loss of power. Despite their resignation to continue their vendetta against Jesus after the feast, an unforeseen opportunity arises. Then Satan entered into Judas, called Iscariot, who was one of the number of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them, and they were glad and agreed to give him money. Judas, one of the 12 disciples, has come to the priest ready to deliver Jesus into their hands. Luke's account literally says Satan entered him, but Matthew and Mark leave the reasoning behind the betrayal more ambiguous. There is an interesting passage inserted in these books between the priest's decision to wait until after the feast and Judas's betrayal. Both Matthew and Mark place Mary's anointing of Jesus with oil in this section. Although Luke does not include this account, John does and specifically states the anointing occurred 6 days before the Passover. This means the anointing occurs the day before Jesus arrives in Jerusalem on a donkey. So why would Matthew and Mark place this passage here? I think John provides an acceptable answer. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, he who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this ointment not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief, and having charge of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. Although neither Matthew nor Mark name Judas in their accounts, they do showcase these questions coming from the disciples. By including this passage here, the reader sees Jesus anointed for burial just before the Last Supper, and is also reminded of Judas's misunderstanding of Jesus' purpose, literally verses before Judas plots his betrayal. Matthew, Mark, and Luke each show the priest agreeing to pay Judas for the betrayal, with Matthew specifying the price was 30 pieces of silver, or around 3 to 4 months of a living wage. Scholars believe this would have been equivalent to 120 denarii, or between 3,600 and 28,000 modern dollars. And now, with the promise of silver, the chief priests and scribes were ready to move forward with their plans to eliminate Jesus once and for all.